Yai, 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 yai,
Shabbat Shalom, Carl.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom. A couple of stanzas from a poem by Sivan Har Shafi. Toss me a soul. I have one already, but toss me an added soul on the eve of Shabbat. Toss it like a rich man throwing change in the beggar's hand on the street. Toss me a soul, an injection of good stuff. I, who am in need of what all the well-behaved and all the silent ones want, a heavenly tossed soul, like cleansing water, and cleanse us. We begin Shabbat breathing in more deeply. Our tradition teaches that we receive a neshama yetera, an additional soul with which to celebrate the peace of Shabbat.
Av harachaman mishoch avdach el retzona yavutz avdach kmo hayal yishtachaveh muhadara Yerev lo yedidutach mino fetzuv vechotam Adonai ziv haolam nafshi cholat Na elna rifana la behamola nino hamziva as tichaze v'tidrape v'haitalach shivchat olam yadadai Kabbalat Shabbat continues, page 11. Come, let's go sing to Adonai. Lechu niranina, lechu niranina, lechu niranina, l'Adonai. Lechu niranina, lechu niranina, lechu niranina, l'Adonai. L'Adonai, lechu niranina, lechu niranina, lechu niranina, l'Adonai. כי גדול, אדוני מלך גדול, כל אלוהים שמבוא, כי אלוהים אנחנו. Page 12 at the marker. 40 שנה, akut bidor, vahomar, amtoe levavhem, ve'im lo yadu, deracha, together asher nishbati v'yapi, im yevohun el menuchati. Page 13. Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shirul Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shirul Adonai, V'choshmo, V'asro miyom, liyom yeshivato, Sapru v'goyim kevodo, V'chol amim nivrotav, Ki gadol Adonai. Kol Elohe Amim Elilim V'Adonai Shamayim Asa Hod ve'ada lefanav Oz ve'tiferet B'mikdasho Adonai Mishpachot Amim Avu l'Adonai Kavod va'oz Avu l'Adonai Page 14, השתחו לעבודת קודש. יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו יעלו שדי יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו יעלו שדי as you run anew Kolatseya, as you run anew, Kolatseya, as you run anew, Kolatseya, as you run anew, Kolatseya, Ya'alo Sadai, Kol Asher Bo, Ya'alo Sadai, ay, 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 לפני אדוני קיווה לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק ועמים באמונתו. Page 15. אדוני מלך תגיל הארץ, ישמחו עם רבים, ענב ערפל סביבו, צדק ומשפט בכל כיסו, את זמנם תלך ולהם סביב צלם, העירו ורקב תבל, ראתה ותפל Page 16. O תזהרו על הצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה, שמחו צדיקים באדוני והודו לזכר קודשו. Page 17. Sing to Adonai a new song, for Adonai has worked wonders. חדש, כי נפלאות עשה, הושיע לו ימינו זרוע קודשו. In English, let's read together page 18. Call out to Adonai, all the earth. Break out in joyful singing. Sing to Adonai to the music of the guitar. Guitar and voices making music together with horns and shofar cries trumpet the presence of the sovereign, Adonai. Let the sea and all that is in it roar, the earth and all who inhabit it thunder. Let rivers clap hands while mountains sing in harmony, greeting Adonai, who comes to judge the earth, judging the world with justice and the nations with truth. Livnei Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel b'tzedek v'amim mehisharim. Page 20. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu le'hakodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu le'hakodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Romemu Adonai והשתחוו לקודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו לקודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו. Page 21. מזמור לדוד. הבו לאדוני בני אלים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, השתחוו לאדוני באהבת קודש. קול אדוני על המים, הכבוד ירים. אדוני המים על מים רבים. קול אדוני בכוח, קול אדוני בהדר, קול אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני הזהב ארנון, ויקידם כמו עקר לבנון וסריון, כמו בן רעים, כמו בן רעים. קול אדוני חוצה לעבוד אש, קול אדוני יכיר מדבר, יכיל אדוני מדבר קדש. קול אדוני יכול אל איילון, ויכסוף יעבור ויחלום. כולו עומד כבוד, כולו עומד כבוד. אדוני למבול ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז עמו ייתן, אדוני יבורך את עמו בשלום. Page 23, Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi, Lekrat Kala, Pene Shaba, Mekabela, Shamov Zachor, Edibor, ישמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולהילה לך דודי. לקראת קהלה פני לקראת שבת לכו ונלחק, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נעשוכה, סוף מעשה ומחשבה תהילה לך דודי. לקראת קהלה שבת מקבלה. מקדש מלך ימלוכה, קומיצי מתוך אפיך, רב לך שבט ימק הבכה, ואוי יחמו עלייכם לעלה. page 25 to continue and change it up a little. Lecha dodi likrat kala Shabbat nikabla Ayulim shiso shosai V'rachaku komer lo lai Yasis olai Elohai kinsos ata Al-Kala Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Shabbat Nikabla Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Shabbat Nikabla Yomim usmo tifrotzi v'yen Adonai taritzi al yarish ben partzi v'nismecha nagila lecha Shabbat Nikabla Lecha Dodi Ligrat Kala Shabbat Nikabla Boi Shalom Ateret Bala גם בשמחה ובצער תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת קלה Shabbat Nikabla Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Pnei Shabbat Nikabla Now that we've welcomed the Shabbos bride, our psalm for Shabbat. Mizmor shir liyom haShabbat, tov lehodo l'Adonai, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, uleagid baboker chatzdecha, ve'munacha עלי עשור ועלי נעבר, עלי גאון והינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שמחתני אדוני בפעליך, ומעשה ידיך ארנה, הכתוב מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. צדיק אתה יפרח, יפרח, צדיק אתה יפרח, צדיק אתה יפרח, יפרח, צדיק אתה יפרח. כארץ בלבנון נזכה, כארץ בלבנון נזכה, כארץ בלבנון נזכה, נזכה. כארץ בלבנון נזכה, כארץ בלבנון נזכה, כארץ בלבנון נזכה, נזכה. עדותיך נאמנו מאוד, לביתך נאווה קודש אדוני לאורך ימים. And that's Kabbalat Shabbat. On page 30 is our opportunity to, as a community, honor those who have passed. If you're observing a yortzeit or in mourning, please join me on page 30. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayed dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'izman kariv v'yimaru.
Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach. Leolam omei omaya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemed kudusha
Berichu.
le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'yalma v'yimaru.
Amen.
Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimaru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yal kol yoshvei tevel v'yimaru.
Amen.
Our teacher, Rabbi Spitz.
Thank you, Carl. What a week. A full week. I pause as I find a moment to focus in on in terms of an eventful week to the fireworks on Tuesday night with the singing and the sky lighting up and a sense of celebration. But of all those presentations marking a new administration, the piece that I also hold on to as a sense of the possibilities that an individual has, and by an extension that a country has, is that of overcoming difficulty of speech. And so let me start with Moses and our Parsha, because he, Moses, is our image of a great leader, but more, as somebody who overcame his own insecurities around speech and ultimately would be known as the teacher. Moshe Rabbeinu identified with his words. You may recall the moment at the burning bush. God says, out of the flame that does not consume that bush, I have a job for you. A job because I, God, have heard the crying of my people in Egypt. My job is to send you as my agent and to bring them to freedom. Now, if you thought God was speaking to you and said, I got a job for you, it's God. How can you say no to God? Moses begs off 5 times at the burning bush, saying, God, you got the wrong guy. I'm not up to the job. The penultimate excuse, Moses says as follows, chapter 4, verse 10. Bi Adoni, please my master, my supreme. Lo ish devarim anochi, I am not a person of words. Gam itmol, gam mishoshom. From yesterday, from the day before yesterday. Gam az dibarcha elavadecha. Also from then, the speech of your servant, ki kaved peh, was of a heavy mouth, uchved lashon anochi, of a heavy tongue am I. And the rabbis commenting on what does it mean to have a heavy tongue, say that he had a speech impediment, that most commentators in our classic tradition would say he was a stutterer. And God would respond and say to him, Mi sampeh Adam, who put the mouth into an earthling? O mi yasum elim o cheresh o pikeach o iver, who is the one who gives speech, who makes dumb and deaf, seeing or blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go and I will be with you. The first person that I ever heard stutter, maybe some of you remember this association, are Jim Nabors. A moment ago I had, one moment, the Andy Griffith Show that I grew up with. Now what was remarkable about Jim Nabors, who is one of the personalities on the Andy Griffith Show, is that he had this beautiful deep voice, and he was mostly a singer. Neighbor presenting. But I remember as a child hearing him do an interview, and he was a terrible stutterer, which made me even then wonder about what is the nature of speech. That a person in some situations, like singing, could sing so beautifully, and yet in an interview had a terrible handicap. And so, to this week, one of the things that most I'm aware of our President Joseph Biden is his history as a stutterer. I'm aware of it when he speaks. He doesn't have that fluidity of tongue. There is the quality that, as a listener, I am attuned to, that he is pacing himself and using his speech in a decidedly determined way, that it's not flowing. Now that's a handicap. We know that it's a handicap that he overcame from his youth, which means that when he speaks, his speech is clearly needing careful consideration of which words he can pronounce, how to pause, and mostly, and most importantly, what he wishes to convey. In that regard, in inauguration night, there was that boy that we saw on the evening news as the campaign was in progress. This boy that then Vice President Biden, the candidate, met along a rope line, who had a terrible stutter. And we were all moved to know that candidate Biden took time to say to this boy, give me your phone number, I want to call you. I need to speak to you. I was a stutterer. I want to work with you. You have great possibilities. And there was a news segment to interview the boy, and the boy was part of the past. But on the evening of inauguration, when there was the celebration across America, there were readings from former inaugural addresses. And one of them was a boy saying the lines of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country, with the introductory verses. And it was fine, but as I was sitting on the couch watching it, my wife turned to me. Linda said, having Googled, do you know who that is? I said, no. That's the stutterer. pretty remarkable, the progress he had made in a year. But the last of those moving moments of overcoming handicap, which is the link to our hero in our Torah reading, Moses, who in our Torah reading is repeatedly coming back to Pharaoh with the responsibilities of representing not just the children of Israel, but representing God, finding the words to speak. And that is that young, lithe woman, Amanda Gorman. I didn't know who she was before I heard her speak as part of the inauguration. I hope you saw her. If not, look for her. For me, she is the most uplifting of words. When she spoke a poem, a new position was created for her, the Poet Youth Laureate of America. What I didn't know before she spoke is that she was the daughter of a single mom who grew up in Los Angeles, who through grit would find her way to Harvard, where she would graduate with honors. But more, she, as part of that grit, had overcome a speech impediment. Frankly, it was Carl who was filling me in on it just before the service, having seen her in an interview. Apparently, like many children who have a hard time pronouncing the letter R, she had difficulty pronouncing R, but it was more than just as a child. It continued throughout her growing up and became an obstacle, so that when she began to develop a desire to write poetry, she said that she had to pick words that she felt she could say and pauses to allow her to say the words that were a stretch for her. Her poem that night is a poem about America, about the possibilities of becoming a country that seeks to work together to enable a dream, an old dream, to move forward to possibilities and then to reality. I can't repeat the words, though I will listen to it, I am sure, more than once for its play on words, its musicality. But when she delivered it, she danced it, or she signed it. Her whole person conveyed with such extraordinary poise this lithe, small and powerful person uplifted us all. And so in this week in which there were fireworks in the sky, but more, words that ripple across time, so I anticipate, may we remember the possibility of possibility, that when things look broken, they can be fixed. Moshe Rabbeinu was called by God to fix what seemed like a deeply entrenched rhythm of brokenness. And yet the man who said of himself, Lo ish devarim anochi, I am not a person of words, would lead. May we gather as a community to pray for our leaders, that they should be able to uplift us into greater unity, to greater fulfillment of dreams, into reality of unity. May words be spoken that ripple across time, that enable possibility of shalom, of peace among ourselves. Amen.
Amen. Lev Shalem, our call to prayer is on page 39a. Yai, 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 yai. Yai, 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 yai. Baruch hu et Adonai Hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Voed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavorach Leolam Voed.
Baruch atah Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the day's divisions, whose will sets the succession of seasons and arranges the stars in their places in the sky, who creates day and night, who rolls light before darkness and darkness from light, who makes day pass into night, who distinguishes day from night.
Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, Echad v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam vayed. Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch Hu Shemo.
Hamari v'aravim.
Amen.
Page 40. Avad olam bet Yisrael amacha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu lemadta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shachveinu v'kumeinu nasiach b'chukecha ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ויורך ימינו ויורך ימינו ובהם נגד יומם ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני
Baruch Hu Shemo.
אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, והיה עם שמעת ושמע מצוותיי. Yes, and feel the other. Press the word time. Are you aware that I wish I were more? Adonai Elohechem Emet. On page 43b, in English reading. You proclaimed the covenant on the seventh day. You declared it and decreed it. We listened and heard it. You loved this day we inherited, delighting in its remembrance, and began its command with the word, remember, Zachor. From the time you bestowed it, joy filled the hearts of Jeshurun, the people you redeemed, securing the cause of righteousness. You exalted Shabbat as a sign between us forever. In 6 days your world was formed. On the 7th day you rested, and on this day, Israel, your people rest. To honor your name, they sing songs of praise to the one deserving of praise, willingly accepting God's sovereignty. Then Moses, Miriam, and the people Israel joyfully sang to you, "Who is like you, Adonai, among the mighty? Who is like you, adorned in holiness, revered in praise, working wonders?" בוקר ים לפני משה, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Amen.
Page 45. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim. Ushmor Tzeitzei Baruch atah Adonai Haporetz Sukat Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Amo Yisrael V'al Yerushalayim V'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel. Page 46. V'sharu b'nei Israel et Hashabbat la'asod et Hashabbat ledoratam v'ridolam v'nid u'v'en b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai el hashamayim ואת הארץ וליום השביעי שבה ויינפל. ויתקדש שמי רבה,
אמן.
ילמד דברי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל. בעגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו
אמן.
יהי שמי רבה מבורך מעולם ועולמיה יתברך וישתבח ויבהר וירומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה ברכו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן ביומה ויאמרו
Amen. Pages 47 to 52 are our private Amidah. In this, the week of inauguration, I invite you to bring one prayer to mind on behalf of the country. So I invite you to say, Dear God, bless the United States with. Allow yourself to be surprised by what you fill in the blank with, and hold on to that prayer. Pages 47 to 52.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. ואמרו אמן. Page 53. ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויכול אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. Page 54. יתקדש ויתקדש שמי רבה,
אמן.
ויעמד דברכיותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ובימיכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו
אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה.
יפרח וישתבח ויתברך ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה.
בריחו.
אלוהים מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה והימרו.
אמן.
תקבל צלות הון אבות הון דכל ישראל, קדם ובהון די ושמיה והימרו.
אמן.
ישלם הרבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו.
אמן.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום. עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן.
Family blessings are recited around the Shabbat table as we count our children as our blessings. And in our community, we also incorporate those blessings at this point in our service. For a son, we say, Yesimcha Elohim Ephraim Menashe. May God make you like Ephraim and Menashe. For a daughter, Yesimech Elohim Sarah Rivka Rachav Leah. May God place upon you as God did on Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, as Carl and I bless our children together. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. And not unlike the Amida, so in this blessing, the final word is shalom, meaning the ultimate blessing is that of peace. May our children and may our world be a world of peace.
Amen.
Page 55 is Kiddush, also traditionally said at the table, but also traditionally in this case said in synagogue, so that each will have the opportunity to hear Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'mahaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikrahei kodesh Zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon Hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Aleinu is found on page 56. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tet gedula liyotzeh breshit, shelo asanu kegoyeh ha'aratzon, v'lo shamanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu ka'achem, v'goraleinu k'chol hamonai. V'anachnu orim, u'mishpachim odim, lifnei melech malchut מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשיבות על לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד.
אוקיי, נקווה לך נוחין, די. חובני סעיקו ושמך
ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
I began my day today at Graveside at Harbor Lawn, participating in a burial for Hetty Nihom. Hetty was one of our lights in our congregation in her 90s, a survivor from Holland. She had a love of Dutch cookies and chocolate liqueur, a warmth, and at the same time, kind of a self-contained quality, in part, perhaps, from having endured all she had endured in the war. Her husband, Jack Nihom, also a survivor from Holland, passed away 13 years ago. And it was my privilege to both have opportunities to be with Jack and obtain some of his little wooden carved figures, and to be with Hetty in these last years as a remarkable, wonderful woman. So tonight, on the eve of having participated in her funeral, I bring her to mind. We observe the following yurtzites in our community: Alan Gale, Victor Berman, Marcia Herskovitz, Joseph Podwall, Monty Masserman, Morris Golub, Paula Dragutsky, Richard Green, Esther Rosenthal, Irving Berenbaum, Erwin Goodwin, Ruth Reeder, Charna Beres, Hattie Rootstein, Barbara Tucker, Len Garber, Marion Balikoff, Israel Surlak, Edward Brady, Linda Ann Lemon, Rosemary Kilcourse, Alice Laurie Gittleson, Lois Brockett, Nathaniel Cooperman, Shep Hurwitz, Richard Berman, Rose Vigman, Velma Paris, and Helen Steinberg. I invite you to join together if you have a loved one whose memory you are recalling in this Kaddish recitation. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, b'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechonu v'yomechonu v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'agalau v'zman kari v'imru amen, yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach, le'olam omei maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitomam v'yitnaseh, Vitadar vitalev vitalal shemei dekudsha barichu le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran b'alma v'imru amen Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen Oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'kol yoshvei tevel Vimru. Amen. As we're going through our prayers tonight, particularly in Kabbalat Shabbat, I am mindful of the number of the respective psalms. Our Kabbalat Shabbat service, with the exception of Lecha Dodi and Yedid Nefesh, are psalms, beginning with Psalm 95, but the psalm for Shabbat is Psalm 92, followed by Psalm 93. So somehow 94 seems left off, but on Tuesday, will be reading and learning and teaching at 9:30 Psalm 91, and I'm doing it with Amy Robinson Katz, who's written some original music to one of the lines, and then 92, 93 Psalms for Shabbat on Wednesday and Thursday. I am truly feeling the flow of the Psalms at this moment, so do consider joining me if you haven't already on those opportunities of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9:30. You can get the links from our website, www.cbi18.org, or we do send out mailings to our community. You call the office if you'd like to be part of those mailings. There is always a lot going on at CBI. Tomorrow morning, Cooper Massler will be called to the Torah to mark his bar mitzvah, and he'll also read Torah honoring his parents. That's at 10 o'clock, our Saturday morning services. And on Sunday, I will be teaching Jewish meditation to our men's club at 10 o'clock. I'm also teaching Introduction to Judaism at 1 o'clock. If you want to know more about Introduction to Judaism, which is a foundation for both choosing Judaism, but if you're already Jewish, enriching your Judaism, let our office know. Many classes on Sunday, Parshat HaShavua, reading Tanakh, Hebrew Scripture with modern lenses. Wednesday night Talmud, Sunday morning a service, Wednesday evening as well a service with Amy Robinson Katz, our website. And in the works, Carl Cedar preparing a early children's service. Say a word about that.
A young family service featuring, aimed towards our preschool families. And we've got that on the books for 5 p.m. on 2 weeks from tonight, February 5th. And busy creating that the past couple weeks and rehearsing it and trying to get it ready for everybody. I think parents and kids will enjoy the visuals. That's what we're working on.
And that's what you're telling me, Carl, is what's distinctive and you're excited about as you work with your son David, in that this will be DJ-like on his part in terms of there will be visuals to engage,
right,
as well as the music and celebration, and it's much to be looked forward to. For what ages?
Well, it's preschool with parents. It's a family thing for young families with young children.
So if you know families with preschool children or children that are fans of Carl, of which there's a lot of children, do tune in for something that will be creative and distinctive 2 weeks from tonight at 5 o'clock.
I'd like to close with a blessing for your Shabbos table. May the good angels come and visit you in your Shabbos home. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharim, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu Mi L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Melech, Malachi Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzechem l'shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Melech, Malachi Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yay, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom, Carl.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
And a happy 65th anniversary tomorrow to Elaine and Jack Finkelstein. 65. Shabbat Shalom.
Bye.